really playing a great team tomorrow. This is the best, numbers saying they're the #1 defensive team in some of the ratings, the #1 defensive team in the country. We do see, top level defensive teams. Matt's team's taking this a whole new level with a 34% defensive field goal percentage. For us to get below 40 is a great marker. Now you go 6 percentage points below that is incredible. Has a lot to do with their ability to guard on the perimeter and then having great shot blocking ability. I think they're averaging some 5 blocks or more a game, and it's difficult to score. So, and it's difficult to stop them. They're one of the few teams right now that has a great inside-outside presence, and multiple people can play inside and outside. So it's really going to be a great challenge. They're going to be very feisty after they lost to Iowa, who's a terrific team, way underrated. 4 seniors, right? They have 4 seniors at Iowa, and that makes a big difference. And so it's going to be difficult. Karras will be out there trying to practice today. We'll see how he does. If he is not able to do it without pain, he will not play. If he plays without pain, he'll be in there.
Lev, you want to start us off?
Yeah, Coach, has Karras practiced at all, and it's just game time decision?
He's been trying to do different things. He goes through, it's part of rehab. Everybody is at practice every day, and they do different things through our rehab, whether he's in rehab or he's trying to practice.
But that's whether he plays tomorrow, practice, see if he can go. That's it.
That's it. And I realize you guys want answers to this. I realize there's a lot of things going on. I just can't give you all kinds of information. What I got to do is try to do what's best for our team, for Karras, and still give you information.
With how good they are around the perimeter defensively, does Karras, what does that do?
If we were playing any team in the country, Karras makes a huge difference. Whether it's Purdue or whether it's the worst defensive team, Karras is a huge difference maker for us. So, but we got to find, if he's not able to play, then we got to find other ways.
John?
Can you talk a little bit about Hammonds and how he's kind of come on this year, come into his own maybe?
Well, you've seen this every year, but I think it's very natural. He deserves a lot of credit, and Matt Painter and his staff deserve a lot of credit for watching him grow along the line where he's playing with great passion. His team is great. He's got a great future in front of him, and it's the way it should be. It's the way it should be. He's just stuck with it through the good times and the bad, and then he just continues to improve, and that's what college basketball is all about.
Adam?
John, Purdue's front court with not only Hammonds but Haas and Swanigan too. Are these guys probably the most athletic maybe that you've seen in a couple?
I wouldn't say athletic. No, I would say long. Size, great size. Haas is 280 at 7'2". It would be athletic. It would just be really strength there. Length would be Hammonds. He can affect the game by blocking shots, and they'll have 5 block shots. It's for somewhere in college basketball somehow. When you block a shot or you get dunked on, it's like you can't win the game. And people it's just one possession. They block the shot, big deal. Sometimes you get the rebound back and play, but for some reason it affects teams, and we can't let it affect us. He's going to block shots.
Maybe not athletic, but challenging-wise with those three, is it maybe one of the more challenging?
Well, what's happened is that it allows them to give you really good pressure on the perimeter, force dribbles. They're also the best at stopping threes. And so they challenge you on the perimeter and make you drive to the basket, and then look who's waiting. Go get them. And so that's really if you can get leverage on your individual defender, which you've been watching Purdue since. It's no different than Gene Katie's great teams, Matt's great teams. They are going to guard you now. They're going to guard you. As good a defense as in the league, and we got some defense in this league, so they're up with the premium defensive teams.
Coach, I know when you faced size in the past, you've done different things in practice, using sticks and kind of.
Yeah, I made the sticks out yesterday. Yeah.
Anything else to kind of?
No, we'll have the tip. Mackey Arena is one of the louder ones. I'm not going to say it's the loudest, but those concrete walls, seems like that ball is, or the sound is shooting around. I think you got to get ready for that environment and that type of length. But we got those big sticks. They got big pads on them, and we were whacking shots all over the place yesterday. But you gotta prepare the best you can for it.
Brandon?
With the three-point defense that they present, why is what they do so effective on the outside? Is it beyond, obviously, the
Yeah,
interior
they're
guys?
really, there's a little bit like Wisconsin, that they're really good at both being in the gap and having individual defense. You know, there's just not the blow-bys you see with other teams. They do a great job of containing you off the dribble, and then if you ever do, they can take chances there. If you ever do beat them, you always have he's got a backline guy. And so that just makes a huge difference. You can, with the three-point game and the charge and the charge circle and everything, you know, we rely more on a charge taker. But if he's in the circle, he's done. There's nothing, you're in the circle, you can block shots all day long. So that's really an advantage for them.
And on the other end is I would imagine there's a bit of a temptation to maybe sag back a little bit and hope they shoot more, but then at the same time, the offensive rebounding would be an issue there. How do you kind of view your defensive matchup?
That's a difficult one because they throw it inside more than any team in the country. More than any team in the country, it goes inside. And it goes to Swanigan inside a good deal, but it's really the other two are getting touches and they play off of that. So if you're sagging in, they have some really good shooters. They got out in the Wisconsin game by Mathis hitting a couple threes. Stevens has been making. If anybody saw the Iowa game, all of a sudden it was 3-3-3, and they go from a big lead. So they just got a good inside out. I mean, they got a very veteran team. Swanigan is the only new guy that we're going to see from last year's team. They're just really veteran and they're very good at what they do.
Coming over here to Tony.
John Martinell is obviously playing great ball, but this is going to be probably a pretty good test for him. Without putting too much pressure on him, are you intrigued to see what he can do against?
Yeah, we haven't with all our guys really, but this will be a great test for what the league is really like, because some other teams have big guys as well, and we got to see what we can do. The last two teams that we've played did not have these dominating offense and defensive, so the defensive matchup is really going to be important for us. That we can play. You know, however we like to play, that we can keep him from keeping Hammonds from getting leverage, keeping Haas from getting leverage, and then, most importantly, they average 4 offensive rebounds a game out of one position. So think of Anthony Tolbert again. I think it was Anthony Tolbert at SMU, 4 offensive rebounds. He got 6 against us. That's a backbreaker. So keeping them off the boards, because those two will split those 40 minutes. And we've got to keep those 4 offensive rebounds away from happening. That's tough.
And just how big are these next 3 games? Obviously, 3 tough opponents.
It's January. Every game is big, and as I say, Tony, to these guys have heard me ad nauseum. At the end of the year, I decide how big games are, how big games were. Right now, some of our toughest losses have been our biggest gains, because we lost, we learned something, we got better from it. So that it's not till we get to the very end do I think these games you can put that stamp on. But I believe I think we have good teams coming up afterwards. But Purdue's as good as we're going to see, so let's see how we do, because that's probably indicative of how we're going to do the next 2.
Go back to Adam.
Kind of along the same lines as Tony, but overall position group, are you confident that, because you talked about wanting guys to be more physical, wanting to be nastier,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you confident with their level right now that they can do that against Purdue?
We're going to find out. I mean, if you look at us right now, people are getting, let's say, offensive rebound. People are only getting 8.5 or 8.75 offensive rebounds per game. That's really good. I mean, keeping people under 10 is really good. But if you took the teams, the SMUs, who's top 10 in the country, Xavier, top 10 in the country in offensive rebounding, haven't been so good against them. So we'll find out. No, I'm not confident yet, because we haven't done it against a team that is going to do that, and that has more to do. That has more to do than just, like I said, boxing your man out. It's guarding the perimeter so that you do not have to give help, and you're in position to be in position.
Chris?
How would you assess your transition offense so far? What would you say?
It's picking because our defense is better. We've been moving the ball. That our transition offense has been really good. You know, I noticed you said when Brian came in here, we did not get it. What made me feel good is we couldn't get transition offense because they only sent one guy to the board, and we still scored 90 points or something. We still scored a lot of points. So, but if we can get into transition, that's one way to negate the shot blockers. That's one way to negate their tremendous perimeter defense. So, but in order to do it, what do we gotta do, Chris? We gotta get stops, and that's tough against them. They get baskets in a lot of ways, and we gotta find ways to do that. The ball going into the post is scoring well over a point a game, and so, that's tough to stop that.
Brendan?
With Karras, is there anything you can say beyond just lower left leg injury in terms of what his
That's
injury is?
all we can say.
Okay. And will you know?
That's all
af-
I'm gonna say.
Okay. Will you know after today if he will play, or will it be a game time decision?
I think with the shoot around tomorrow, we'll try it again. We'll just keep trying every day, just get just little bits.
And one more. When you go through
I
their
know you're doing your job.
their
Don't worry about
losses, turnovers have been a common thread by them, committed by
Yeah.
them.
You did
Have
me
you
all
seen
right.
anything there, or is it self-inflicted, or are you seeing defenses get into them and
No,
do something?
Iowa can give some people trouble, and I think what people are noticing now, you're seeing it probably more than you've ever seen it if you haven't taken notice, the soft press to delay the shot clock. What Iowa did was a soft press into a hard trap at spots. And that was troubling to them, it could be troubling to a lot of teams. So those are things that people are doing, and Matt will get that fixed up, but that obviously, those turnovers were big in that game, because you were getting turnovers for touchdowns in that game. And it's not a walking, and you go set your defense. Mark? Oh, I'm sorry. You're supposed to do that. It was right in I'm a point guard, it was right in my line of vision.
Is there some advantage? We saw what Zach did with the ball at the end of
Yeah.
last year, and Karras is a big guard, and without him, is there some advantage to trying to use Zach in some of that role because the size is different than
I mean,
Derek and Andrew?
The big issue here will be, we'll be trying to use, Derek more, Mohammed more, and Zach more if Karras can't go. And the Raphael Davis is gonna be guarding one of those guys, and he's the elite defender in the league. So it's gonna be difficult, but as this thing, if it continues and it lingers, yeah, that's growing thing, that Mohammed, Aubrey, right? We put Aubrey in the ball screen the other day, and he got a great score out of it. We gotta play through more people. Frankly, we didn't have to use a lot of people. It was like when you had Trey Burke. We didn't put Nick Stauskas in a lot of stuff because we had Trey Burke. When Karras, you don't have to, so now you have to, and it's good overall for us as we develop.
Swing over here to Jake.
Coach, you said maybe too early to tell one game is more important than another, but you talked a lot about the growth mindset. Do these next three games where you're playing 3 ranked teams in 2 tough road environments, does that maybe give you more of an opportunity to grow than ordinarily?
Yeah, everything, and when it's in January like this, I mean, you just look at it, and you just wanna get better every game, and you wanna win, obviously, and someone made me aware of that. I wouldn't have even known I knew Maryland was coming up, because I said, we don't have a game this weekend, when's our next weekend game? And they told me it was Maryland Tuesday, but I didn't know until recently. Somebody told me about, I think it's at Iowa, right? So tough environments to play at. We've had this before, right? We did okay with it, but at the same time, it is not easy. You all can just go through your books there. How many times has Michigan beat a ranked opponent on the road? And you won't find very many times. I don't care who the coaches are and who the players were. It is difficult to do. And when you got 3 like that with 2 of them on the road, it is what it is, and you just gotta do the best you can.